Shut up and sit down.
All right, so welcome back, fellow deli cup herpers. If you haven't seen by now, I redid the leopard gecko tank. If you haven't, there should be a link popping up in the corner right about now. But definitely pleased with how this turned out. Still got a little bit of tweaking to do. Like, I'm gonna take that out and that live plant, and I think I'm gonna put an egg laying container in that corner just so that way I can encourage the female to lay in that spot, so that way I have to tear up the cage to find the eggs and whatnot. And I had some good comments, and one of them I wanted to address, but I'm not going to call out the person who left it just in case they don't want the attention. But this looks great, but over here not so much. I like making these cages, but they don't always turn out great. And this cage is the example. And these cages aren't too bad. They're not exactly what I envisioned. And same down here with the day gecko cage. That's isn't fully my vision for this tank. And so what I do is then, like for this cage, I'm gonna redo it. We're gonna pull all that stuff out, and once I get some more supplies, and I'm gonna rebuild that, and hopefully next time around it'll be better. But what I'm getting at is, I honestly don't think I'm really all that great at it. I just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until the cage comes out good. Like that leopard gecko cage, or let's come over here to where my dart frog cage is. It's taken a couple years for this thing to really grow in and look as what I believe is a very good cage. I don't think you're gonna be able to see the frogs because it is more grown in now. They hide so much more better than when the plants were just getting started. But again, I built many dart frog cages that were horrible before I got to this one that's good, and it's still around only because it's good. So guys don't fully always get to see my failures, if you will, my attempts. So if you don't feel like you have that artistic ability, just keep going. Sometimes it's just you just stumble upon something and it looks great, just like this. This was not my first attempt at the leopard gecko cage. It was just the first attempt you guys seen. So the point is, keep trying, and keep working at it. And it isn't necessarily how much is spent. It's just about putting the right combination of stuff together to get what you want. So I just want to touch upon that. And then another comment was, the fun of, making these enclosures. It's, for me and for the person who left the comment, which I do know who you guys are. I just don't want to call you guys out in case you don't want to be put on the spotlight. But, I agree with you that the fact that it's just as fun setting up this cage as it is watching the animals inside and acquiring them. That's part of my draw to the reptile industry hobby. Not that rack system like this is bad. Do what you need to do to achieve what you need to, as long as the animal's health and everything is good. And I've used racks like that for a long time, and it just is just not where I'm at right now. I'm no longer concerned with breeding and keeping a number of morphs and whatnot for breeding and things like that. I'm more interested in this kind of stuff. In fact, completely honest with you, if I just had a pair of plain Jane normal leopard geckos, I would still be ecstatic about having leopard geckos in this, because it's all about the whole thing. It's about the animals, you know, walking around in here. It just, you know, I can't go to the wild and see them, so this is the next best thing. So that's, you know, that's where I'm at now, you know. So don't give up, just keep trying, and sooner or later you'll get there. And you know, and it's so much more fun when once you do, I understand. But so let's get out some snakes and show you some snakes. This time around, you know, this is, we'll just call this the big yellow snake episode, because we're going to I'm going to get the boa out as well. But for now, let's take a look at this beautiful girl here, which of course is my albino ball python. I was just actually talking about her in a comment earlier on another YouTuber's channel, and you know, this is my albino boa, that the ball python that I picked up from Royal Constrictors Design many years ago. So I thought I'd get her out and just kind of show you to her, for those that are relatively new to the channel. So this is one of them, one of my favorites, and I've had her for a great deal of time. And if you can see the photo back there on the wall, that is actually a picture of her when she was a baby, just a little hatchling of that year. But you know, very friendly, as you can see. You know, she doesn't really mind her head being bothered or anything like that. She is around 10 years old. So yeah, that's my albino ball python. And I think next year we might end up breeding her, which she will go to my citrus pastel calico male ball python. Right? Produce some babies. Okay, so next up for the big yellow snake video is of course this big beautiful girl, and this is my sun glow boa. You can see she's got some pretty good size to her. She's probably around 4.5 feet long. Very friendly, even though she was sold to me as kind of a grumpy snake, and that I should be cautious of being bit. I have had her now for 5 years, and she's never once tried to bite me, or you know, really showed any signs of true aggression. You know, she does have a pretty good feeding response, but as you can see, she clearly understands when it's time to eat and when it's not. So definitely you know, definitely glad that I got her many years ago. And you know, I don't think she's going to get too much more bigger, because she is approximately about 10 years old. Because when I purchased her, she was around 4 to 5 years old, and she was well undersized at that time. You know, around 3 feet. So you know, I don't really anticipate her getting super huge. And unfortunately, you know, that's just sometimes what happens. People get stuff they can't, you know, fully take care of. And but no worries, she's in a good spot now, and you know, do what I can to give her a good life, you know. And she's a huge favorite when I do the reptile educational programs. You know, she always gets the kids, you know, excited. I show them the other stuff, and you know, they're interested. But as soon as this girl comes out, you know, they all kind of scream in excitement, and you know, so she's definitely well loved by the crowds when she gets to come out. So I do have her feeding on a jumbo rat about every other week. You know, because I don't want her to become overweight, but I do want her to maintain healthy weight, so I do about every 2 weeks. But yeah, that is her. All right. So let's take a look at what else is going on in the reptile room. Okay, so now that the leopard cage is complete, just minor tweaking, what cage am I going to move on to next? If that's what you're asking yourself, I have the answer, and that is going to be these two cages down here. Why both of them? Well, for one, the legless lizard, his cage needs some serious attention. The day gecko cage, while it looks pretty good and hopefully you ain't getting too much glare from the light, well, it looks good. It's not exactly what I had envisioned. Let me tell you a little story about myself. When I was younger, there was a TV show, and I don't, for the life of me, I cannot remember, and maybe one of you guys have seen it. I know the show was done in Canada, and the title of the show had something to do with an acorn, because it was something acorn, the nature nut. And it was this guy, he had a couple reptiles, but it was a nature show for kids. And one of the episodes that really grabbed my attention is he had an aquarium, and I'm gonna say it was either a 55-gallon or a 75-gallon aquarium, fully planted. It's probably where I got my idea of wanting to do this kind of stuff originated. But anyways, it was a fully planted aquarium, and he had a pair of day geckos in there. And so I mean, I fell in love with it, and that's, again, I think that's where this obsession with having natural cages kind of, that was the seed that has grown into what it is. So for me, to have this day gecko, I want to do something similar. Now, the tortoises behind me, they are in a 75-gallon aquarium. It just so happens I have another 75-gallon aquarium, but the question is, where do I put it? Perhaps I get rid of that desk, build another stand, which, by the way, if you didn't know, that white stand, I did build that. You go back in later videos, you'll find it. Build another stand, put that other 75 on top of it, get driftwood, logs, live plants, the whole shebang, and put a couple day geckos in there. The little fella that I have now, and maybe another female or two. That's what I would love to do. I don't know whether as cold as it is outside, I don't know if I'd be able to do that reasonably anytime soon. So I am going to redo that eventually. But really what's next is going to be that legless lizard cage. And in order to do that, I need to get some more supplies. So until the local pet stores here, they're little mom and pop shops. They're great little stores, especially if you want fish. The one store has a little bit more reptiles than the other, but they don't have quite the extent of stuff that I'm looking for. And the nearest pet store that I believe would have it is about 2 hours away. So is the Detroit Reptile Show, is also about 2 hours away. So I think I'm just going to wait till the next Detroit show, go up there, because I know there's a guy who has lots of cork bark and lots of reptile supplies. Generally speaking, he's always been there when I've gone. So I'm going to do that. So that is going to be the plan. And eventually, those 10-gallon aquariums there, I'd like to get those snakes out of there and into something slightly bigger, which I think 2 of them, the Texas rat is going to go up there to one of those cages, and then one of the other snakes will go there. And actually what I'll probably do is those 3 little tubs up there, those snakes will come down to the 10-gallon aquariums, because that's actually an improvement for them, unfortunately. The little one has the California king snake up there. He's not quite ready to be bumped up into anything bigger, so we'll leave him in that one. And then eventually these smaller tubs down here, I would like to move those snakes into something something different as well. But that's kind of the loose ideal that I have going on in the reptile room. So, you know, if any of this may interest you, please hit that subscribe button and give that like button a pounding, and you know, that way others can find the channel and we can keep growing. Keep in mind that the let me get this, that the giveaway for this camera is still up and going. You have to check out the 121 reptile room vlog. All the details to win this are in that video. Go check it out. Link may be above right there for quick clicking access. So I want to thank you guys for sticking it out this long, watching the video, watching these Fridays reptile room vlogs. I'm gonna try to keep this rolling. I'm getting a lot of good feedback off of the videos, and a lot of views, at least from my channel's perspective. I'm getting a lot of views, and so I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. So that's it for this video. I'll be back next Friday with another reptile room vlog video, and as always, shirts are for sale. Look for it on the Facebook group. All links are provided in the description below for Instagram, Twitter, which I don't use much, and Facebook. So until next time, later.